It's the age-old question, DIY or buy? When it comes to tower gardens, it's really not so simple to answer that one. In this video, I'm going to break down DIY tower garden versus a manufactured tower garden and tell you some of the advantages and disadvantages of both so that you can make the right decision for yourself. Do-it-yourself tower gardens are really popular because you can get a lot of the same advantages as you do with these expensive manufactured tower gardens from something you can make for a fraction of the price. In the description box and right here is a link to a downloadable blueprint to a 5-gallon aeroponic tower garden that I've made and grown in, and that's the one I'm going to refer to in this video for the DIY tower garden. Some of the advantages of DIY obviously are that it's a lot less expensive. You can get the parts to make it at like the hardware store right down the street, so that means you can fix it really easily and you can have one today. So those are pretty big advantages. Some of the disadvantages of the DIY tower garden are the fact that I've never built a DIY tower garden. In all of my years building tower gardens, I've built so many PVC tower gardens, some hydroponic recirculating air tower gardens. I have probably built like 40 tower gardens over the years as a hydroponic gardener, and I don't think there's been a single one that hasn't leaked in one place or another. Whether it was a small leak by a net cup or a big leak that just trickled down the whole entire tower garden. So this one that I include the blueprint for, that one has controlled leaks. Any areas that I noticed leaks, I made sure that it was channeled back in holes that we're going to drill into the top to make sure they go right back in. Another downside to this tower garden in particular is the size of the nutrient chamber. So I did this all in 5-gallon buckets, so your nutrient chamber is only going to be about 4.5 gallons, which means when the plants get really big and really thirsty, you're going to have to be topping off daily and maybe even refilling the bucket more than once a week. It becomes quite a chore, and a larger reservoir is definitely something that you're going to be glad you had when the plants get larger. Okay, so over to manufactured tower gardens. What are some of the advantages there? And I didn't leave you guys out. I don't have a guide for you, but if you're in the market to buy a manufactured tower garden and you buy it through the links down in my description box or here, then I will give you my Mastering Your Tower Garden Growing More Than Greens full masterclass series for free. That's a $100 value that I will give you for free if you buy a tower garden through the links below. I just want to make sure that you have everything that you're going to need to successfully grow with that tower garden. Some of the things that I noticed that I really liked were the quality of the build. As I was putting it together, I felt like it was definitely engineered really well. It wasn't something I felt like was cheaply made or thrown together. And if you put it together properly, which the whole thing kind of goes together with these plates that have holes drilled in the bottom, and the plate itself has the pipe inside of it, and the water runs through the plate. So there's no pipe running up, the plate itself contains the pipe. You can add more of these plates, and that actually brings me to customization. Being able to add more plates and different plates to the tower garden to get all the way up to this tall, that's pretty cool too. I really enjoyed the customization aspect of tower garden. They really want you to feel like you can buy this thing and take it as far as you want, which I really appreciate that. I think that was very cool. Another advantage that I found with the Tower Garden Flex that was massive was the root chamber. It's 20 gallons instead of like 4.5. And when the plants got really big like this, I had cruciferous greens growing in there, I had tomatoes, and I had jalapeno peppers. Those roots got huge, and having that massive amount of water made a big difference. I wasn't really nervous about it. I felt like I could manage it once a week, and it never really got out of hand, as to where my DIY tower gardens definitely felt like something I had to manage every day. Now the disadvantages with the Flex Tower Garden, I mean, it's so hard not to say Juice Plus. I'd say the biggest disadvantage with the Tower Garden Flex is the price, the initial investment. Obviously it more than pays for itself if you're serious about using it, and that's why I guess it all kind of comes down to which tower garden's best for you. It's hard to compare the two directly because if it wasn't down to price and investment, then it's kind of an obvious choice that you'd go with the tower garden, right? But the DIY tower garden gives you the opportunity to have one today. I think the DIY tower garden is more for the kind of person who's like a basement grower or a backyard grower who just has a bunch of DIY stuff and loves trying new things and experimenting with different types of gardens. Maybe doesn't mind the aesthetics so much and doesn't mind maintenance like daily. You know, there are a lot of DIY people like myself who like to go around and check my gardens, and that's kind of part of my routine every day. I had fish growing up, so feeding my fish was a part of my routine, and then when I became an adult, I had fish too because I really liked the habit and the routine, and I've always had pets for that same reason, and plants have just become kind of like another part of my routine. So we are creatures of habit, and daily maintenance wasn't a big deal for me. So if that's not a big deal for you, then you'll probably really enjoy the DIY tower garden, and you can just go do it right now. You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace. You probably get it all at Walmart aside from the water pump, and you might be able to find that at a pet store or a hobby store. And you can throw together a tower garden that'll work really, really well and get your plants going today. Or you can buy a product from a reputable manufacturer who's put a lot into the patents and the science of the product, and it works really, really well. If it was me, which I guess it is me, right? I'm telling you guys my opinion. I personally, if money was not an object, then I would just fill my backyard with tower gardens. I personally, right now, I just moved back to Hawaii with my family, so we had to leave our tower garden behind, and we're getting a new one. It's in the mail right now from Tower Garden, and I have 3 tower gardens built. So I have 3 DIYs for 1 manufactured. Maybe that's a good ratio. I have 3 DIY tower gardens for 1 manufactured tower garden. Anyway, now I'm just rambling, so I should probably get going, and you guys should probably get growing. So let's get at it.